Hello ladies and gentlemen, Luke Innes here. I've got another film review for you today. This one of a film that I tried to watch 3 times. Well, it was my 3rd time watching it, and the first time making it all the way through earlier. But first of all, before I get into my review, obviously a plug for the podcast, it'll be in the link down the bottom. Go and check it out. We've just put out a fantastic episode on the Aerosmith album Night in the Ruts. Let's get back on to the point. I'm going to be reviewing the 1992 film Bad Lieutenant. It was directed by Abel Ferrara. It was written by Zoe Lund, and it stars the legend that is Harvey Keitel. Now essentially the plot of Bad Lieutenant is quite simple. Keitel plays the title character who goes about his business for a few days while the audience follows him. Along the way he deals in an awful lot of drugs. He steals drugs being kept as evidence. He does an awful lot of gambling with very big money. He commits various acts of sexual misconduct and generally does a lot of terrible things. He begins investigating the case of a rape of a nun in a church. As he investigates the case, his life begins to spiral out of control. As I said at the start, Bad Lieutenant is a movie I've tried to watch twice before and not gotten all the way through. The first time admittedly was because I needed some sleep. The second time was because I was looking for something a little bit more pacey. And this isn't a very pacey film at all. It's a very realist movie. Admittedly there are some sort of surrealist elements to it, but it is mostly a pretty realist movie. I mean, it's obviously got a lot of the hallmarks of Abel Ferrara's work. It's got very gritty portrayals of urban areas. Obviously a lot of Catholic imagery. In this case there's a lot of time spent on, well, there's actually not that much time spent on it, but there's a lot of time spent around churches, and obviously the rape of the nun scene is pivotal to the movie. All of that is well and good. I like Ferrara's style an awful lot. Really, that is the thing that this movie brings to the table biggest, is just how talented of a director Abel Ferrara is. Every shot of this movie is beautifully staged and just looks really superb. But that's a thing that has kind of been ongoing with Ferrara since his debut feature. I've got to say as well that the acting in this, for what it's worth, is brilliant. I mean, Harvey Keitel is one of my favourite actors. When I look at his filmography, specifically around the time that this movie came out, he was in a lot of great movies around this time. You know, this was the same year, or was it a year after Reservoir Dogs? I can't remember, but it was close to Reservoir Dogs, which is obviously great. My favourite Tarantino movie. But yeah, it's perfect. I mean, it's all very muted, very real at the start, for the most part. Obviously he does, you know, it never enters pantomime levels, and as he breaks down further and further it kind of gets a little bit more larger than life and ridiculous. You know, you sense this guy reach breaking point, and you watch him sort of as he kind of searches for salvation, you know, and doesn't really seem to be finding it. I did have some problems with Bad Lieutenant. The pace of the movie is very slow. I mean, it's a consistent pace throughout the movie. There's no jumping and moving around at the pace, which is interesting for variety. It's nice to have some different facets to the pace of a movie, but this movie keeps a consistent pace. It is a very slow pace all the way through, which is odd because it's not a particularly long movie, but then it's not a particularly long story. Like I say, that's my major concern with the movie. And I've got to say, overall, it didn't really make a great deal of an impact. With a filmmaker like Ferrara, you look at his first movie, The Driller Killer. That's a movie that often doesn't get the credit it deserves for what it is. I feel like that's a film that kind of deserves the level of credit that Bad Lieutenant gets. This is a movie that I failed to get through twice before sitting through it today. And I've got to say, before I did miss out on the parts that kind of go to redeem this movie. As I say, it's not really a movie that I feel like has stayed with me for any length of time. It's just like a cool story in its little space. Drags on a bit, but it is a cool story. So I guess to score Bad Lieutenant, I would say that this is a 7 out of 10. I think that Ferrara's masterful kind of visual style is truly the highlight, as well as some great acting. And like I say, in general, the film is very watertight, but it is very one note, and it doesn't have the hugest impact, despite the fact that it clearly wants to. Thank you very much for watching this video, ladies and gentlemen. I truly appreciate it. Don't forget to check out my podcast. Please like, comment and subscribe. Why not check out some of my other videos? I've done a few reviews now and I'm sure you'll like them. Peace.